Hello, it's Talking Reds from sunny Liverpool. It is the last Wednesday of March, and that means we are going into April. We are going into the business end of the season, and I've got two business end guys with me. I'm on one and any other way. I've got Mo Stewart and we've got Phil Blundell. As ever, well, till the rest of the season, Talking Reds is brought to you by the lovely people at NordVPN. So thanks for them for partnering with us and allow us to bring this show back. There'll be a little bit more from NordVPN, well, from me on NordVPN in the middle, but we are going to get straight into it. Jonesy lad has got to the crux of what we want to talk about. Fair play to him. He said, let's go Reds, one final push, we can do this. Come on Phil, listen to Jonesy lad.
Let's go outside with some flares, John. That's all I'm saying. March up that ground. Now I know it's a Wednesday and there's no one there. There's probably six people in the ticket office, there's 10 people in the museum, but I reckon we could turn up with some flares and it'll go off. Yeah, it is. It's a big period. I think Sunday's game is huge because obviously we play before Arsenal and Manchester City, and you'll be able to look at the table and go, tell you what, they both can't win here. Yeah. So it'll give us a gap to someone, maybe both of them, but a win on Sunday, such a big way to start off this sort of last 6-7 weeks of the season. Yeah, and I've titled the show 10 Games of Greatness. That's how it feels. You know, we just had a couple of weeks off. I was obviously in America. Nice one to everyone who came to all the live shows. I've been down to London for an event, and everyone's like, you're going to do it then, you're going to do it then. And they're not talking about the Europa League.
No, they're not. And it's funny because I've had a few media bits as well when everyone's really excited to know how we're feeling. Are you nervous? I'm like, nah, I'm excited. I'm very much excited. It's like we talk about 10 games for greatness, the triumphant 10. Oh, there we go. How's that? And
change the title of the show.
But I think that we're coming into the greatest part of the season feeling good about ourselves. I think there's loads of reasons to point to that you say that Liverpool are going to be playing some of their best football. I think you look at the way that other teams are going, I think in terms of our confidence and our play, we should be as good or if not better than everyone else. And yeah, 10 games. We've won 10 games before in a row, plenty of times. What's to say we can't do it again?
Do you think we'll need to win all 10, Phil? There's a comment here from Sean saying, how many points do you think we can realistically drop and still win the league? He said, personally, I think a lot depends on if City drop points via Arsenal. I think, you know, I don't know if you've got a preference on who drops points. To me, my preference will be at both of them. I think
draw's the number one. Draw's number one.
A draw, but let's assume that also that is a draw. We then win and we go top. Do you think we need to win all 10? Do you think we probably need to have the mindset to win all 10? But amongst friends here and a few hundred people on on live with us and a few thousand watching later, how many do you think sort of Liverpool can afford to draw?
So I think if we got 28 points from here, I think we win the league. Okay. I think that is the number we need. Not that we could win it with less, depending on how things go, because to be perfectly honest, the way Arsenal and Manchester City have had the Champions League draw come out for them is hugely beneficial to us, yes. I think. But then at the same time, we've got 5 away games in a row if we get to the semi-finals of the Europa League, which is not a picnic either.
It's interesting.
It's going to be a long couple of weeks, that let me tell you. But there's a long way to go here. We can, like, 10 games doesn't sound a lot, but it's a lot, really, isn't it? Like, we could be 6 points clear in 10 days, and you could be 2 points off the pace. You don't know, so you've got to go into the mindset that we need to win every game, even though we probably don't, just because the toll that their workload is going to take, I think, could be quite hard for them. Maybe that's me sort of talking myself into it, but I'm just looking at, for example, Arsenal going from not playing midweek weekends consistently ever to then having to go maybe 6 in a row. It's a huge change for them, a huge change, and if they come out the other side, fair play to them, but we know that we can get as many points to take them out the game, so we've just got to try and do what we can.
I'm less concerned about the consecutive away games. I mean, obviously, we know that Anfield's a massive advantage for us.
Phil's just thinking who's feeding the car.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be out on the tour. I'm going to be asleep. Well, yeah. I mean, in particular, West Ham at 12:30. I mean, I don't finish work till 5:30, so that one's completely off the table for me if I wanted to go. But obviously, we get an advantage for being at Anfield, but I think if we've won all the Anfield games going into that run, then we can still get that advantage. And I think going away to opponents, we are now a good enough team to be more calm about situation. It's like if it's 0-0, or even 1-0 down at half time, we're not going to panic away from home in the way that maybe previous teams would have. We know about bending and not breaking, and we've still got this amazing squad, so we've still got players who can come off the bench and win it. I think of, obviously, the Nottingham Forest away is the archetype of that kind of game where it was literally the last kick of the game and people thought, oh, well, this is it. We were all rationalising, oh, well, maybe it's not such a bad point. And then we still went and won it. And I still think that that vibe is within this team. So even if you have to go away and do it again and again and again, I back them to do it.
Yeah, you do back them to do it, and they'll back themselves, Phil, and I think that's important. And listen, I think Arsenal are backing themselves, and I think Manchester City,
as everyone should. These are three really good teams, aren't they? So they all should be.
But from our point of view, they'll be looking at this not just Sunday, but the next couple of home games and thinking 6 points. We should be getting 6 points from those games. Brighton are a decent team. It has to be said, sort of they come up first. A bit of a funny team this season, but they've always played well at Anfield, and we need to sort of expect that. But they'll be looking at these 2 home games in a run and thinking that should be 6 points for us, and that is a great start on the triumphant 10.
Yeah, I think the second one is you've got to start looking at the goal difference as well. I think people go a bit too far on goal difference because you only really know whether it's going to come into things in sort of the last 2 or 3 games anyway. So we've got a long time before we get to there, but we really want to go out and try and batter Sheffield United. Like not just a win. Obviously, if we get 2 1-0 wins in the next 2 games, I'm going right. Fine, we take it, we move on, we see where we are. But you've just got to try and do everything you can to help you. I think the 3 of our next 4 league games are obviously at home, so it's a bit of a weird thing in that our next 7, I think we play 3 at home, 4 away, but it's 3 out of 4 are at home and then 3 in a row are away. It'll be tough to overcome that little run, I think, and that's that. I think we'll get to probably. I think we'll know after Everton whether we've got a real chance or not.
Well, here's an interesting question from Toby, which is related to that. Toby Arab, I think it is. Thoughts on what our toughest remaining league matches? Because there's a few tough away games in different ways. There's Old Trafford, which I think is the first one. Well, I mean, Phil, don't moments I might have a different answer. There's Everton, always tough. Derby feeling. Aston Villa, who are above Manchester United table. You do you, Mo, don't listen to him.
I mean,
maybe Wolves last game.
Oh God, don't say that. To be honest, I'm less concerned about the United game because of what happened in the Cup game. I think that allows us to go there and be like, see all those things that they did? They're going to try and do them again, and we're going to absolutely not let them do it. So it's almost like we've had a test run. So yes, I understand it being difficult, and obviously there's a psychological element in it. I think Everton, again, is another kettle of fish. We don't know whether or not they're going to have any points deductions anymore, and all that kind of stuff, which could, some of that might drop just before, and their game before us is at home against Forest. So they've got to win that more than they've got to beat us.
They've also got Brentford 3 days. Brentford 3 days after.
So
as well, yeah.
I think you can more make a point for that one. The sneaky one that I'm kind of more concerned about than most people is Fulham. Because Fulham are a mad one, and they kind of owe us one for what happened at Anfield. Like, they feel like they should have won that game, and we saw.
Give us a right good go in the League Cup as well.
They did,
didn't they?
and they've been very, very good at home all season long. And I think that one will be one where we have to maybe really tough it out. Yeah. Obviously, West Ham away, you've got where they are in the Europa League might come into it. Villa, the similar where they are in Europe might come into it, but. You can make a kind of a case to say, well, that might be tough because of X. But with all of those, I'm saying, but we've got YZ.
Are you sticking with Man United away as toughest game?
I think they're just a mad team, aren't they? They're a moments team. We did a video top 6 when we recorded it last week. I think it went out yesterday. And we were sort of talking about the other teams in and around that position. I think I called Manchester United a moments team because they've got the kind of players that in a 5-minute spell can compete with anybody in football. I don't think that's an exaggeration or particularly unfair to say. Over 90, it's not quite the same, but when you go to Manchester United in a league game, 5 minutes might be the determining period of the game, like we saw it 10 days ago. Yeah, and that's the problem. They probably have maybe not the best set up team, but probably the best on their day players, and that's the game where I sort of feel like you were to say Liverpool are going to lose one more game this season, I'd feel that's the most likely defeat, for example.
Players coming back is really nice. There
Yes.
was a bit of an injury this week that we will talk about, but football carnage. Is that Chris? I think that's Chris. Hello, Chris, if it is. Says the return of Jota, Trent and Jones should be the boost we need at this stage. I think it's definitely going to the last 2 games at the very least. And then he says, hope you all well, Kiss. So there we are, Kiss from Chris card. What else can someone want? He's right though, isn't he? He's right and handsome in that these players sort of coming back is a massive boost for us, and the Robertson thing is a little bit of a negative, but the fact that just before the international break it was looking like these guys were coming just at the right time is huge. Yeah,
it is, and I think it's not just about the quality of the individuals, obviously that matters, but it's the depth. It's to be able to go, okay, after 60, it's not working today, someone else come on and win it for us, and having a large amount of players who can do that. It's not just relying on the same 1 or 2 every time off the bench. So I think Curtis, he's still going to have a massive part to play over the course of the last games. Trent, we know his quality. Jota, I mean, talking about the Old Trafford game, I think everyone agrees if Jota was on that pitch, we'd have won that game. Because he would have been able to be that decisive moment. And there's going to be times over the next 10 games where it's like, we're going to need something out of the ordinary. We're not going to just steamroll all 10. Like, in all of the ideal world, I'd love to say that's true, but it's just not going to happen.
Imagine it did, though.
Imagine if it did, though.
3-0 up after 15 minutes in all 10 games.
Oh, God, yeah. Okay, let's just sit with that for a bit. Okay, but yeah, the likelihood is that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
so
unfortunately.
you want to have different qualities, and one of the best things about this squad is not just the fact that we've got depth, but we've got so much different problems for the opposition to face. So even if they've done really well stopping us in one way, then we can throw something completely different at them, and then suddenly it's a completely different game again. And I think having them all back, Trent, he's going to be of the mindset that, like, I've missed far too much football here. I want to come in here and I want to make myself one of the key points of why we win this league. And so I'm really excited to see how he comes back to it. And even obviously Robbo missing out, I think having Costas, who's literally just played 2 games for Greece, which initially I thought, I'm not sure about that, but considering how little he's played beforehand, it's probably a good thing that he's kind of running into form. Even
getting the summer off now as well, isn't he?
Yeah, well, exactly. So you can say to him, look, this is your period, this is your time to shine, Costas. Give us 3 or 4 games of absolute genius.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, to be fair, I watched a bit of the game, and Joe Gomez playing right back was attacking sort of really well. Obviously, Conor Bradley, gets a huge moment. His first goal for Northern Ireland, they really enjoyed it. So they'll be sort of feeling good. And you just need enough good players in a moment, don't you? Canate, I think playing for France is a good thing.
Yeah, I think it was as well,
sort of, getting those minutes in and showing that he's fit. So he's able to come back. Obviously, Quanta played for the under-21s. And I think he had quite an easy night. He won 7-0, didn't he? So I don't think he was doing a lot of defending. But he was there, and that is good. He was running about.
Well, an amazing run, which I've seen on Twitter.
Loves it. And Veg was very heavily used for Holland, but I'm sure he could take it. But, these guys sort of all being in a good rhythm, but adding... I'm with Mo. I think Jota's like he's as business end as you guys. You know what I mean? He's sort of there. He's got ice in his veins, and you fancy him. Trent, I think, will won. He'll have been frustrated. I think sitting out this part of the season, and he'll want to have a real influence on where the title is going. And Curtis Jones was a massive player for us in the first half of the season, and just having that extra body, but that extra reliability and extra quality in the middle as well. So I'm feeling good about what we've got going into this bit.
Yeah, I think this is on the part of those players coming back as well. There's a thing where they'll want to go, well, I've got to repay these players that have kept us in it. Because, there's a lot of players who've come in and they were, bit part players is harsh, but they weren't sort of regulars who were starting every league game. Like, Gomez is a perfect example of this, I think, in that he sort of starts off the season. He was a very much a sort of rotating for the Europa League, the League Cup, play the odd league game here and then until pretty much Christmas, if we're being perfectly fair. And then he's come in and just grow massively, and people like him have kept Liverpool in this position. So these players will want to come in and go, right, well, I can't let their work go unrecognised. I've got to drag them over the line now. It's my time, it's my turn now. Because I think we all get this idea that football teams consist of like 10 players who are brilliant for an entire season. It's not really how it works. It's not like you think you basically need one player to be excellent for a month, and then 5 or 6 to be good, and then two to be very good, and that's enough. We've had bits where people have gone up and down on various trajectories. You think about how good Szoboszlai was sort of the first 6 or 7 weeks of the season, and he probably hasn't hit those heights since, but he hasn't needed to, because somebody else has been the excellent one, whether it's Van Dijk, whether it's been McAllister, whether it's been Salah, whether there's bits of Nunes, there's bits from Elliott, there's bits from loads of players that have contributed towards this. So all these players come back and go, well, I want to be that man now, and that's what's in it for them. Like, Liverpool could win 4 games with goals in the last 20 minutes that Diogo Jota scores, because that's the kind of player he is. That's the kind of situation we're in here in terms of the intensity of the football. So there's real opportunities for all these people to go, I want to be the one who's remembered for this season now, because we all have moments in seasons where you go, oh, that was him, wasn't it? You think about United's treble, for example, like they won the FA Cup, Ryan Giggs runs the length of the pitch, Solskjaer and Sheringham scored in the last minute of European Cup final.
In the semi-final.
Exactly. There's all things where, when top teams do things, there's things for players to hang their hat on and go, I did that, that was me. And that's what this next 6 or 7 weeks is about, and loads of these players will want to take that opportunity that they're going to get.
More on this to come, but I do want to give a shout out to NordVPN, who are partnering with us for Talking Reds for the rest of the season. They are not only the fastest VPN in the West, but they give you fantastic, thanks Phil, I enjoyed that as well, fantastic security whenever you're using your laptop and logging on to internet abroad. We've been doing a lot of travelling at the moment. Phil's about to go here, there and everywhere, watching Liverpool plants decimated all over this flat. But when you're logging on in locations that you're not necessarily used to using public Wi-Fi and things like that, it is good to have that internet security. So NordVPN give you all that and more. But I'm looking at you, hey there sports fans, we know the real, well, the main reason I would say while the VPN service is fantastic, that there are sometimes sporting events that are on telly in other countries and not necessarily on in this one, or vice versa, and NordVPN allows you to change your location, change your online location, and then suddenly you're able to watch some of these football games, big sporting events that you weren't necessarily able to do so with the help of obviously another subscription as well. But I reckon sometimes for you guys as well, even if you can watch, say, a big American sports show in the UK, you know, you'd maybe rather watch the US version or something like that. You've just done an Augusta show, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to slag off some of the UK versions of the commentary.
Oh, no, it's great.
I mean, I like the fact that BBC have started showing NBA games, but by the same token, I do have a relationship with, like, the commentators over there, like the TNT crew. They're all really, really hilarious. So you want to be able to see and hear what they're saying at the same time. But yeah, it's one of those things where sometimes it's not even sports events. Like there's a new show that started on BET that I saw an advert for. I thought, oh, that looks good. Yeah. But I thought, oh shit, I've not got BET. Aha, but I can get it. So yeah, there's plenty of reasons why I'm going to be diving into that for sure.
Yeah, or as ever, if you are away this weekend, don't worry, you can watch the Gladiators final. It is NordVPN. So if you want to get stuck in, it's nordvpn.com/TAW, nordvpn.com/TAW. And if you use our link, not only are you helping the Anfield Wrap, but also you get an extra 4 months free on top of your 2-year package. And also, there is a 30-day money back guarantee, sorry. So if you download it, you're not sure, you're not using it, there's that confidence that you'll enjoy the service, that you'll get a streamless Gladiators experience wherever you are in the world this weekend, that will give you the money back within 30 days. So there you are. But cheers to NordVPN. I'm back to the main show. And just before we get back into the triumphant 10, Chris Black wants me to give a shout out to the women's team, and I'm always happy to do that. They're having a good season. They've already got more points now than they finished on last season, so they've really kicked on. It was the first year back in the Super League, for those who don't know, last year, and they did pretty well. It was all about survival, consolidation. This year was about jumping up, and that's what they've done. Already got more points. They've gone above Manchester United now into 4th place, so hopefully they can hold that position, and listen, 4th will be great for this women's team. Obviously, we're all hoping to see them right at the top of the table, challenging just like the men's team are, but it takes a while to get there, and they're following the process and doing really well. So if you want to go and watch them and you're in the Northwest, they play at home to Manchester City, who are really good. They've got the most football at the moment, aren't they? The academy's good, but yeah, that's home at Prenton Park on Saturday. That is 12:30 kick-off, so if you can get yourself down there, tickets are available online. Do try and get them in advance if you can. They don't sell anything on the gate, but you can buy them pretty much up to kick-off online. So 12:30, Prenton Park, Liverpool v Man City women. Or if you can't get down there, you're in another place in the world, it is available on Sky Sports. And as we've just learned, so you can get Sky Sports anywhere.
Hey, stop them winning the league.
Yeah, that'll be a laugh. But there'll be some really good footballers. Okay, the Robbo one, I did say I wanted to talk about it a little bit more. It's frustrating for him, and you could see he was a little bit emotional coming off because he's had a bit of a stop-start season with injuries himself. It's a bit of a sort of heavy tackle, although you know these things happen. I'm sure the lad hasn't meant to sort of injure him, but you could see he was sort of frustrated. And there's other people who can sort of play there. We're not quite as reliant on Robertson as what we used to be, but for him, as much as anything else, it looked like he was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, I think it'd be a blow because he's not long back, is he? After he was at what, 3-4
And
months pretty much, and it took him a while to get back. It felt like he wasn't quite back into the rhythm either. Like he'd been playing all right, but it wasn't the Andy Robertson that we all know. So he maybe he'd felt like he was sort of finding a bit more, and he was getting back in towards it. And his reaction sort of confused me a bit because he looked quite upset. But I don't know whether that's, I'm out for a couple of weeks and I've got to maybe fight my way past Joe Gomez, or was it, this is really bad, I'm not going to the Euros in the summer? Like it's one of those things we do not know the answer to. We will find out, in the coming days. But it felt like it'd be a surprise to me if he was playing on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I think that's the main one, isn't it? We know that it's not going to be immediate. It's not going to be, he's all right suddenly. And I think there is a frustration because you're right. I do think he had been below his level, and he's honest enough to know that. Yeah. And he would have been hoping to be able to play himself into it. But also, he knows how triumphant this 10 is going to be. He's been one of those guys who's been in and around these kind of title races. So he will have known how important and how massive these games are. And obviously, we've got the fact that we are coming to the end of the Jurgen Klopp era, so he's going to want to be involved in every little bit of it as soon as he can. So even just missing 1 or 2 games is going to be heartbreaking. I know I would be. Yeah,
absolutely. And it is nice to have your big players there who've been there and done it. And listen, this is a fairly experienced squad, and there are quite a number of them who were either involved in Liverpool's last sort of title challenge or certainly have been around, winning teams. But Robbo has won the league for Liverpool and does know what it's like when it can get a bit tense at Anfield as well, and that is a valuable thing.
Yeah, I always remember him during the very first last day of the season where Brighton go 1-0 up at home to Manchester City and the ground went a bit wild, and I remember him sort of in front of me just sort of trying to calm the crowd down. It went far too mad for a 1-0 Brighton lead after sort of 25 minutes or whatever it was, and I don't even think we were winning at the time if I remember correctly.
No,
so it's an experienced head. He's one of the leadership groupies. I think he's 4th in on the captaincy, maybe 5th. He's somewhere around in that region anyway. So it is one of the leaders. I think he has been there. He has done it. There's obviously a lot of the players who have, but there's also some that haven't. We're going to be playing in midfield that for the most part hasn't.
Yeah.
Endo and McAllister aren't used to this level of intensity. They haven't done that before.
In terms of league football.
In terms of sort of league football and then playing big European games as well. So if they've got someone behind them who can sort of drag them through it and say, do this, do that, do the other, that helps. He's going to be not as big a miss as I think I probably had him down as when he got injured in, was it October, I think it was. That was when he got injured then. I was like, this could be really bad. But it's to Joe Gomez's credit and Shimikas as well. I think we forget that it basically took Shimikas' injury before Gomez has sort of been the go-to left back. So there was a sort of 6 weeks period where it was Shimikas doing really well, let's be perfectly honest. So there's a lot of them that we'll miss him, and but again, we don't know what's wrong with him, and he might be all right, he might be out for a week, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Let's not do his obituary.
Let's not write him off. He's retired.
And obviously when you're thinking about the title race and your rivals and stuff like that, we have to kind of mention the fact that City potentially lost Stones and Walker, who are Akanji, and maybe even Mateus Nunes as well.
Maybe Haaland. You don't know.
I think Walker's meant to be okay.
I
think it was a great black from him. Absolutely fair play. I think he did it. I think he withdrew as well as you can withdraw from international.
Well, but if John Stones did the same, that's some blank.
Walker probably is had enough of Doku in training. It's like, I can't.
Black down in that game as much as the other one. Yeah, he was graft, wasn't he?
But what I mean is that like everybody is going through stuff. Like Arsenal looked like they were going to get everyone fit back, and I think Saka and Gabriel are probably precautionary that they pulled out, but it just goes to show that like you can never really have the settled ground. It's all about having a good squad and a deep squad, and as we keep saying, there's so many players who come up and start their hand up. One fellow we've not even mentioned yet, Alisson. And we've kind of not mentioned him because no one really knows when he's coming back.
I saw there was a photo of him on his Instagram the other day, and I've got a theory that he's either pretty much fine or he's absolutely done.
Well, did he look like he was?
He was basically
relaxed. Well, resigned.
So he was with his wife and his 3 kids, and he's basically standing on one leg. Now, obviously, I don't know which leg is the problem, but I don't think you'd be standing on one leg if you were like in between. You're either accepting that you've got a problem, or you're like, nah, fine. And he's back in 3 days. I have no idea which one it is. I just think I felt like there was very little middle ground when I saw it, and I've no idea which one it was.
Well, let us know if you've analysed Alisson's Instagram.
Yeah.
I saw someone saying that the family were at the Brazil game at Wembley, so that means something. I'm not quite sure what.
Trent was as well.
Yeah, Trent was down to watch. Which is sort of quite. Maybe they shared a taxi. Maybe they sort of shared.
Or maybe maybe they split the driving.
Economical. Which again.
I mean, if he's driving, I think we're all right.
Exactly. See?
Yeah,
both of them.
It's theatre park down
there.
It is. It's the widest thing.
Got your parking space. I never said where it was, John. I didn't unveil any secrets.
Don't worry, Shib. We won't tell a word. Right. Okay. One final question I wanted to give to both of you. If I could guarantee you the fitness for every league game for one Liverpool player, who would it be? So 10 league games. Someone who's going to start everyone and make a big impact for Liverpool. Who are you going for? Most pain to fill?
It's one of two, I think. It's either the centre back or the right winger. It's hard, isn't it?
Well, you called him a right winger, like he's
I don't know.
Probably the first Stuart Ripley shout I'm talking about.
I think he's a big. If you think right wing in early mid-90s football, I do think you think of Stuart Ripley.
Yeah, won the league.
He did, yeah. Keith Gillespie's another one as well.
Two of them. Old-fashioned.
I think I'm gonna go with Van Dijk. I think.
So Sean C is going for Van Dijk.
I think you can probably over 10 games. You can maybe negotiate the Salah missing a couple a bit easier, and you'd be less. If you looked at the forward line that was Jota, Nunes, and Diaz, you'd probably feel happier than if it was Konate and Quansah away at West Ham, for example. And that's the best way I can sort of approach it.
Okay.
It's weird because if you'd have asked me at the beginning of the season, I would have said that there's 3 or 4 players who we could absolutely not do without for considerable periods. And we have. I mean, one of them's Alisson. So I'm kind of, without wanting to absolutely tempt fate, I kind of feel like we're all right in general, but the answer is Virgil. Yeah. And not just because of the quality of the guys who will be in there, but it's because of everything he brings, the intangibles and the way he lifts everyone else up. I would possibly throw Mac in there as well as a potential. I know that we may not necessarily be starting every game, but I think that he's in that mode at the moment where he's able to be decisive. So I'd quite like him to be all right as well. But if you're giving me one, it's Virgil.
Are you full house on that?
I think it is, just because of how he's played this season and how he's led, and I feel like he's just got us over the line at key moments, and I am full house on that. But listen, we'll see what happens. And as Mo says, different people have stepped up at different parts of the season, and you back them if there's enough of them. As Jurgen Klopp says, if we can get 11 lads on the pitch, we back ourselves, and that's what we're going to do for the rest of the season. Listen, hope you've enjoyed that Talking Reds. Thanks a lot to NordVPN. Thanks to you guys for your comment. One last shout of Darren Anderton as a 90s winger.
Really good one.
Will Fox as well.
Andy Impey. They're all coming out, aren't they?
This is like the meme, isn't it?
He just said our name.
Well, I was in the 40s, sat around talking about old footballers. We never said we weren't a cliche. Up the Reds.
A VPN, short for Virtual Private Network, is a cybersecurity tool for privacy and security. When you connect to it, a VPN creates a secure tunnel and secures data traveling between you and the VPN server. Encryption scrambles data, so to anyone outside the encrypted tunnel, the information looks like gibberish, meaning no snoops can sneak a peek at your online activity. NordVPN ensures that you can browse safely and privately in just a few clicks. A VPN, short for